Hey, you guys, I just wanted to come back and share some more of my testimonials with you guys because I've come through a lot. I have come through a lot. I'm kind of like, where do I start? Where do I start? Simply because the situation that the Lord has placed on my heart for me to share with you guys was just outrageous. Okay. Literally outrageous. But my point and what I want to say is mental illness is no joke. I was married to a man that had mental illness and he wouldn't own up to it. He wouldn't seek help for it. He wouldn't acknowledge it, but he would self medicate himself. He would smoke weed. He would drink alcohol. And then he also had like military issues on top of that because he had joined the military. But I'm telling you, I have been through a lot and some crazy things. And the one thing that I wanted to share with you guys today is I had literally followed my children's father, who was at that time my husband, literally down to homelessness. I followed him to homelessness. I went from having a really good job in Phoenix, Arizona, to having an apartment in Phoenix, Arizona for me and my three children, as well as my husband. And his mentality was so messed up that he thought so many crazy ways. And me, being the submissive wife, felt like, okay, well, that's my husband. I need to follow what he's telling me because he's the head of my household. No matter really how crazy it was, I absolutely was that submissive wife. And what's so funny is that he would tell me that I was not submissive. And so I guess what I was really doing throughout the majority of my marriage was trying to prove to him that I absolutely was. But you can't prove something to someone who can't even see themselves. You can't do it. If they cannot find any joy and happiness in their own situation, in their life, and they can't even acknowledge their errors and their wrongs, give it up. Give it up because you're not going to be able to convince them. You're not going to be able to win them over for anything. And I spent 15 years of my life trying to win him over, trying to prove to him, trying to show him how much I cared for him, how much I was down for him, how much of a rider I was, that I literally followed him to homelessness. And I mean, it was me, him, and three children. I had a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old. And here we are driving in this, I wouldn't even say it was a good car. It was a Buick. And we are driving cross country with three children in the car. No jobs, no money, nowhere to go. And we literally got to, where is it, Minnesota we went to. And we, in that city, actually were sleeping on church floors. And I know that people were looking at us all crazy because that man that I was married to, when you look at him, it looks like nothing's wrong with him. And even when you kind of talk to him, he can throw you off. Believe me, I was there. And he was functional. But I didn't really know that he was bipolar. I didn't know that. I didn't find that out until after we got divorced. And then I started going to counseling for myself and having my children go to counseling. That's when I realized Oh my goodness. He was bipolar on top of the other things that he had going on. So, one of the situations that happened where we were sleeping on church floors, I remembered, um, it's a long, drawn out story, so I'm going to try to break it down and not be so elongated about it and with it. But the point was, we got to the point where we were leaving his hometown and we're driving. We're just driving. Don't know where we're going at all. And we get to this city in Minnesota. And there's certain parts of it I just don't really remember. But I remembered we were living on the street. I was literally standing on street corners with the sign, needing food, not having a place to go. And it was just crazy. And that time that we were sleeping on church floors, they would let us come into the church. And it wasn't just us, it was a bunch of other people that had no place to go. So this church, they opened up their sanctuary and let people sleep on the floor. And, we would get up, we would end up having to leave the church, being out of the church all day until it was time for us to come back for dinner and then stay in. And the whole situation was loony because here we are, mind you, driving across country, and the car that we were driving wasn't even like registered and tagged up. It wasn't even legal, really, because at one point during this journey, we got pulled over by the police. And because the car, I don't know if it didn't have any insurance or it didn't have tags or something, they impounded the car. So here we are with 3 little children in the cold, in the winter, in Minnesota, and they impounded the car, and we had to walk from wherever we were to the church just to try to be able to get there on time to be able to eat and then have a place to lay our head at night. It was crazy. And I was just trying to be the submissive wife. But no matter what I did, it just never was good enough.